Tara Doyle-Enneking, the CEO of the Puyallup-Sumner Chamber of Commerce here today. This has been quite a week. Last week we had community partners of the Port of Tacoma, we had the Washington State Fair Foundation yesterday, and now we have our friends at the Puyallup School District. Dr. John Palm is with us today, the newer superintendent for the Puyallup School District. So welcome.
Thank you very much, Tara. It's great to be here.
Yeah. Well, hey, you haven't been in the job long, but you certainly came at a rather critical time. So tell us a little bit about, first of all, what was your official start date?
Official start date was July 1st.
Okay.
And so we've been in the hot seat, I guess, for a bit now during pandemic time. And so we've been really trying to help shepherd the school district through some pretty challenging moments. But it's been
No
good.
doubt.
Been good.
Awesome. Well, welcome to the community.
Thank you.
Where were you at before?
Well, I spent my last 4 years prior to this in Port Townsend.
Mm-hmm.
So I was superintendent Port Townsend School District since 2016.
Okay.
And then prior to that, I was a high school principal in Bremerton, Washington for 6 years.
Nice. What subjects did you teach?
Well, as a teacher, I was a music teacher.
Okay.
And I also taught some mathematics.
Okay.
Did quite a bit of coaching and ended up moving into administration probably in a while now.
Okay.
Mid-90s, and have been a school administrator ever since.
Were you a principal as well out at Bremerton? Is that correct?
I was.
Okay.
High school principal in Bremerton.
Yep.
And then prior to that, I was a high school principal in Chewelah, Washington.
Okay.
Northeast Washington for about 13 years.
Okay.
I was a teacher in the Tri-Cities before that for about 8 years.
All right. So nice experience, a nice path to lead you to where you're at today.
All corners of the state of Washington.
Yeah.
Got to be in Eastern Washington, now back in beautiful Western Washington.
Great. So, and I've learned Puyallup is the 8th largest school district here with 22 elementaries.
23 elementary schools.
23 now. Okay. We got 7 junior highs, 3 high schools. Is that?
7 junior high schools, 3 comprehensive large high schools, an alternative high school, a digital learning center.
Oh.
I've got quite a bit going on.
Gosh. And as I understand, the school board was looking for someone, I have some of these words down, that would be sincere, caring, that would listen and engage with staff, and they felt very confident they found that with you. So.
Well, that's good to hear. I don't remember. It was such a blur. But definitely, I think a focus on relationships, building relationships with people within the district and within the community. And that's been one of the big challenges, I'd say, is
Right.
just the limitations with COVID. Luckily, school employees have been prioritized with our vaccines, so I was able to become vaccinated along with many of our school district employees
Right.
recently.
Nice.
So we're very, very fortunate to have the opportunity to serve here.
Oh, wonderful. Well, for some of us with our business caps on, may or may not know or have a great understanding of all that a superintendent is responsible for. Would you shed some light on that for us?
I'll do my best. So overall, you would call the superintendent the chief executive officer of the school district.
Okay.
And so I work for a 5-member school board of elected officials. And so I always kind of joke about this is my role around serving the 5-member board is to try to really help them be one voice for me. And so I have clear direction.
Yes. About what the phases, you kind of walked the school district through last year and then where we're at now, and I guess a little short projection of where you see things heading with pandemic.
Right. So when we they actually offered me the position back in February a year ago, but officially started July 1st.
Okay.
So in between, we have a shutdown of schools.
Right.
So I was in Port Townsend helping that district kind of move through how we deal with school in a remote setting or distance learning without any preparation.
Yeah. And with no real roadmap or not having experienced anything like this before.
Right, and we had to deliver something, and so I think in Puyallup there was a lot of effort to really deliver as quality as we could at the time, given that we didn't know if all the students had access, Wi-Fi access and devices. So we made a really heavy investment this summer to make sure that all of our students K-12 would have a device. And in addition to that, we were able to secure hotspots for some families that needed access that way. And I think that was a big part of how we were able to really start the year with a very strong academic program, as strong as we could, given that kids weren't getting the live instruction in person. So as we moved through the pandemic, we were able to actually create a plan where we bring our students back in a hybrid format, which we're in now.
Okay.
And I would say all of our students from grades 2 through 12 who wanted to be in person, which is about 75% of our student population, they're receiving at least 2 days of instruction, live instruction at school, and then they have live instruction away from school, and then some asynchronous learning. But our kindergarten through second grade and some of our self-contained students, those students are 5 days a week. And we're one of the only large districts really to pull that off. So we're really proud of our staff.
Good. Good. Well, I know a lot of people in our world are excited to have these kids back in school, and I just know, I would assume they thrive more that way. So I'm happy to see you've provided a clear pathway to do that. Fantastic. So a little bit about your personal life. So you're living in Puyallup now, so this is a new community for you.
It is. Back in the early 80s, I was a Tacoma resident, and I graduated from University of Puget Sound, mid 80s, and my first job actually was in University Place School District as a long-term sub. But I moved to Eastern Washington after that and got some experiences as a music teacher, as I mentioned, and in administration. So when Puyallup posted the position, I was very, very interested because on a personal note, my daughter already lived in the community.
Yeah, great.
And we had 3 grandkids here, and so we were really excited about that opportunity, closer to family.
Oh, nice. How fortuitous then.
Yes. Yeah. So we're about a mile away actually from my daughter and her husband and kids, and so my wife's probably working as a babysitter more than
I'm sure it's a role she loves. Probably one of her favorite jobs. Absolutely. I love being Granny T is my name. So living in the South Hill area, what do you like to do for fun?
Well, we like to do a little hiking. Of course, seeing family is probably at the top of the list, and the little ones for sure. And do a little golfing here and there. I haven't done much this year yet, just twice, so we're pretty rusty. Yeah. And overall, just really, honestly, just spending time with family is really my biggest interest. Love to read, love to exercise, and do sports with family and kids, and really just focus on serving here in Puyallup the best I can.
It's nice having a job that's a bit of a hobby too. Yeah. I feel the same way. Well, I'll be the first to invite you to our Moonshine and Mulligans is our golf tournament out at the private course Linden. So I'm not sure if you've golfed there before.
I haven't. I've driven by a few times, so that'll be great.
So August 17th, put it on the date. Put it on your calendar. So tell us a little bit about some of the programs the school district is working on. I keep hearing whispers about a mobile STEM unit, and very interested in that.
So I'll tell you about that. Millie, we call it, is a mobile STEM innovation lab. Focused on our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade class ages. And really, during pandemic, probably had to trim that back a little bit from what we had intended. We have 2 teachers on special assignment who work in the lab, and then we have another lab tech, so 3 staff members. Yeah. And we're really excited. It expands to about 3 classrooms within the lab, and then we have some lessons that students will be doing within the STEAM area, so science, technology, the arts, engineering, and math.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. What other kinds of things are your focus for programs and opportunities?
Well, I'll tell you, we've been working mostly about focused on
getting back.
Yes, getting kids back into the classroom.
Right.
And I think when we've been dealing with staffing, let me give you an example. So an elementary school typically will have a large recess area, for example, a large cafeteria in many of the schools where we can move kids into for recess, for lunch, actually other activities, and those have kind of changed dramatically. So we've had to hire a lot of additional staff, and so now all of our recesses are in zones. We have cohorts of students who can't cross over to other cohorts.
Right.
And then we lunch in the classroom rather than the cafeteria. Yeah. And all that is really centered around the health and safety measures that we've had to have in place and be able to do the contact tracing when we have positive COVID cases. And it's been, I'd say all of our efforts right now are just managing all the pieces of the pandemic on getting kids back to school.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a whole new department, just the mobile transport and safety and health aspects.
Every time we make a change, which has been about every 2 to 3 weeks, where we add additional students, we have to reroute transportation, we've got different cleaning responsibilities, we have to move staff around and change schedules for our specialists. It's more, I didn't even realize how many different pieces would be in play each time we had to make a change. So
I bet.
Again, the effort of our principals and other staff members who are actually doing most of that work has really been tremendous.
Oh, I bet. Nice. So as a chamber community, and I can see some folks saying hi, and when I say I can see you, I see words, I see things that might mean something. Aha! Letitia, thank you. And we have Dale. Is that Dale? I'm sorry. I can't see from here. Thanks for tuning in, though. We do appreciate it. If you have any questions, go ahead and put your questions in there if you like while we have them just a couple more minutes longer. I do want to say that when I look at community partnerships and I look at our role as the voice of business for the chamber world, are there any things that come to mind in ways that we might be able to better serve the school district?
Well, as we
partner.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's as we work on our different initiatives around interacting with the community. We have our career technical education program. Now, Millie's part of that, but it's much broader than that. And I know that we've got some partnerships already pretty robust partnerships actually in the district. So to continue, I think supporting some of the career and technical education work that's going on both in the schools and then when kids are out into the community is really an opportunity. And we're doing a lot of work with equity within the school district, and I think partnering with some of the, like with the city and with others in the community around how can we really help foster that inclusive atmosphere where everybody feels a part of the community, and we really kind of stand against any of those intolerant kind of attitudes. Really helps us grow positively. And I think the school district plays a role in that for sure, but partnering with the chamber and other groups is definitely at the top of our list.
We've got a task force in that area, and we'll be leaning to some of our community partners too on the best way to kind of, I guess, have a strategic plan around that for the next year. So you might be someone we just may be reaching out to on that. I know our board chair Renee McLean and I are have a trip to Colorado planned that's coinciding with some school education that I'm having. But we're visiting a chamber that happens to be the #1 chamber in the country right now that has a lot of cool programs, and one of them is an apprentice program that they have with kids that are in the high school and the junior colleges. And I think this year they have 17 apprenticeships. And so when I say this, it's kind of like taking that mentorship kind of thing, but in a more robust way. And the student is not only getting credit, but now is also getting some money. Yeah. So I would love to see, as far as now near far vision for our chamber, something hopefully more in the near. Absolutely. Doing something like that.
Yeah, and I think that's something that sometimes we think of. School districts is really preparing kids for college, but it's much broader than that. And that's where I was speaking to the career and technical education opportunities, and where apprenticeships could really be a strong part of that.
Right.
Where, as you mentioned, when students are getting a little bit of cash along the way, it sure does help motivate. For sure.
Yeah, I think it would be a worthwhile service to play in this community for sure. So, hey, I think we're wrapping up our interview here, but thank you so much for joining us. Always great to get to meet new faces and hope to continue some collaboration with the Puyallup School District.
Well, thank you. Nice to meet you too, Tara. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. All right, folks, thanks for tuning in today. Have a great rest of your week. Bye-bye.